From child brides to chain makers, from teen moms to trailblazers, from silence after rape to speeches that shake nations, from forgotten names to forces of history. She rolls beyond trauma, past mistakes, and everything meant to break her. This is the Beyond Her Odds Show. Real stories that inspire you to rise, to heal, to lead. Because if she did, so can you.
My name is Raquel Kasham Daniel, and I'm your host every week on this show. This show was brought to you by Beyond the Classroom Foundation with support from the Ignite Project, a girl-centered initiative that is helping us build safer homes, classrooms, and communities for girls to thrive. And it is sponsored by the Ignite Consortium. So today on my show, I have another brilliant woman. If you follow us on social media, you will see that I uploaded that she went from being a financial wreck to someone who is now supporting other people to be financially stable, earn money, and then be able to manage your money. And she's not just a guest. When I bring in my friends, I always let you know that this is my friend, so that when you see her talking about the amazing things she's doing, you're just going to hail me when you see me. So I have with me the amazing. Usually I would have just used the bell. Like I always say, I don't know how to use the bell. The amazing Christian money woman. In fact, she's the real money. Money. If you are looking at her right now, you see how beautiful she looks. And she was here right on time, and we're grateful to have you here on the show. For those who have been on the show before, have listened to the show, you know that we always bring amazing women who, first and foremost, we had ᴄᴏᴜʟᴜ sometime on the show who talked about a beautiful marriage that she left, and now she's doing amazing things with women and girls, helping them to come out of harder situations that she even went through. We've had the one who was married for just 7 months, and her husband said he wasn't doing anymore and left her with a pregnancy of 6 months. 9 years down the line, and she's helping other people to heal and to go through their journey. We've had Coach Tega on the show, who spoke about substance abuse and how she's helping. She's wasted 13 years of her life before now, and then now saying, how can young girls and young people who are struggling with substance abuse find healing and come out of that? And from what she shared, it's going to be a long journey, but it is possible, and so on and so forth. We've had so many stories like that on the show, and today we have the 7th guest on the show. Mercy, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Raquel.
I always start with, tell us the story, like what happened to you. But then before we say what happened to you, we'd like to know what is your background, because that would give us a glimpse into the questions that we usually ask on the show. So give us your background.
All right, I'll say I had a very beautiful one. As a first daughter, not only was I raised by my own parents, I was raised by my grandparents, had a first grandchild also. So I had a very beautiful one. I was taught so many things. Like I went to school. Left to me, I think I ticked all the boxes. I was taught how to be brave, confident as a woman, all of those things. Like I was doing very well. And of course, I went to school. I bagged the first degree in chemical engineering. I didn't just stop there. I went ahead for a second degree. I had Hemtech in project management. So I was doing very well. I got a good job. I was working with Vitafoam. Like that's one of the top production companies in Lagos. I was doing very well. And then I felt the money was not even enough for me. So I started my business.
Money.
So I started my business, a clothing line, like a fashion business for women. And I was doing so well. I relocated from Lagos to Akure. And for my master's in Akure. I left Akure, I came to Abuja. Like to tell you how I was doing so very well. Like I'll leave a place, I'll get another place. I'm doing so very well. Do you understand? As way back as say 2019, I could afford to go to Aba to source for local fabrics. I went to the market with as much as 5 million. Like imagine as way back then. Like that's to tell you how well my business was doing. So I was doing very well. Like I had good relationship, girlfriends. Like I was just say I was
the poster child.
I was doing very well actually. Growing up, I had a very beautiful background. I was doing very well.
Thank you. So, like I always say, for those who are our frequent listeners, we don't always bring you sad stories, because sometimes people feel like when you come to radio or come to listen to shows like this, people come with very sad stories because, well, we had a few of them who were not really good, but that's the person's story. But I want to always say, if someone has a or the better background than a sad story. We should amplify it. Not everyone must have to have a grass to grace story. Some people is grace to grace. And we can actually amplify that, because that also talks more on how parents brought up their children, like how your parents brought you. So kudos to the parents out there who are doing an amazing job raising amazing kids. You're doing a great job. Please keep it up and don't stop doing that. So now, you had a great childhood. You went to university. You did so well. You came out with good grades. You went to a male-dominated career, engineering. You know, they say if you go to a class in university, when I was in like you always say that there's always 3 or 4 girls with 50 boys.
It was like that.
So you navigated all that. That means your parents were super proud of you.
Yeah.
You came out NYC, everything else. You did so well for yourself. You're working. And which is what we do. We encourage girls on the show to say you have to get an education.
Please do.
If you understand the heart behind and the Beyond Her Arts initiative that's funded by the Ignite Project, is basically to inspire girls to say it doesn't matter what happens to you, you can still go back and complete your education. If you're unable to do that, we also have another guest that's coming to talk about how you can navigate that. But we're saying there's actually a way to do it, because it's important that you have some form of education. So if it's difficult, you can't go back and get your degree, it's fine. But if you can't, you, of course, learn a trade or something, or be, so we'll talk about that another time. But thank you for giving us that context, going to school. And so girls can go through to school and actually go into male-dominated field. It is possible, very, very possible. So don't limit yourself. If you're listening to show you're a young lady or young girl, still in secondary school or university, or just thinking of how to go into university. If you're a science student, you want to do engineering, Messi is here to encourage you. You can, and all that. So thank you so much. So tell us now, how did you get to being a financial rep? Because look at this poster child. You did so well, or you've done so well. And then you now became a financial rep. So with all this money you were earning, what happened?
Oh, thank you. I love to tell this part of my story. So just like I said, it felt like I ticked all the boxes. I went to school, I got a job, I was doing well, and then I got married. Marriage is not the problem here, please.
Okay.
I didn't get married to a bad man.
Okay.
All right. And so then I got married, and I think I took in almost immediately, like less than 3 months into my marriage, I took in. And because of this, I could not work. I told you I left my job to start my fashion business. So I could not work. And I was good with money. I didn't mention that at first. I wasn't like a frivolous spender. Not like I was bad with money, really. I had savings. The only thing I didn't have was I had no investment whatsoever. So the moment I got pregnant, I took in, I realized I could not work for health reasons. I could not work. So I had to lay low. And in no time, before I hit final trimester, I realized I'd exhausted my savings, and there was no investment whatsoever to bring some sort of money to me. Like nothing whatsoever. So I was not working, I was not getting money. Like it's not a good place to be. Like I do not wish it on any woman, because I had to depend on my husband for literally everything. Raquel, when I say I had to depend on my husband for literally everything, like I mean it.
Oh my God.
Like if I need anything whatsoever, I have to ask him. And in all sincerity, shout out to my husband. He's not a bad person. But then I just imagine a case where if I was married to a bad man, I would have taken advantage of that.
Yes, of course.
And it can become a case of financial
abuse.
You can imagine. So I didn't have any source of income whatsoever. And I must say here that I've never said this before, but slowly I slipped into depression. Because as a first child, I couldn't even cater for myself, not to talk of my siblings, my parents, nothing. I was not even doing anything for myself, for crying out loud. So for every time I had to call this guy, like my husband, I need this, before I would even go ahead, I've gone through so many things inside of my head, like, oh my God, so I have to still go back to this guy. So it has to be the one. I need anything, it has to be the one. So, but thankfully, I'm still saying it wasn't a bad guy. But just imagine a case where it was a bad person.
Yes, of course.
And then I could just get into financial abuse, you understand? Or even if I was not, imagine I was not even married. Because, okay, in my own case, it was pregnancy. It could be anything for anybody.
Yes.
Probably a single lady who is not even married yet, who is not pregnant, but something just happens, and then there's this pause in your work for 2-3 months, and you cannot cater for yourself. And that's how a lot of people fall into financial abuse. Because you need money, then this person will say, come and sleep with me to get it. Do you understand the dynamic of this thing?
Of course I do.
So that was how I got into it. So I was a financial wreck.
I'm going to make you hold it off there for now, because I want to come back and then give more context to why we wanted to have you on the show to talk about the benefit of having this financial education that you're teaching right now, because we work with a lot of adolescent girls, and then one of the things we try to tell them is for them to learn a skill, to get a skill for yourself, because you see in communities, right? We have a case right now that we're dealing with for girls that are giving sexual intimacy for century trials. I don't want to use the S word on the show, but that's what it is. I even heard during our meeting recently, we have a capacity building training currently holding up in Abuja, and someone mentioned girls getting intimate with men for fish. And I was like, really? In a community where they're, and you say what? Exactly. So I was just sitting on my chair, I'm like, I thought I've heard it all, So my point is, I wanted to hold off there for a while so that we brought you here because it's very important that parents teach their children about financial literacy, and then how to not make only, and manage and invest money. So I'm going to take back that where you were, as you're plunged into depression, you couldn't make money for yourself, and take you out into the importance of financial literacy. I want you to tell us, why is it important? I know I've said a few of them, but I need to hear it from you, who's an expert.
Like, I had a first degree in chemical engineering, second degree in project management, and I say it's like I've spent most of my life in school, like accumulatively, like from primary school, and not once did anybody teach me about money. Just like you said, it's not enough to know how to make money. You need to know how to manage money, because money is a limited resources. Like, no matter how rich you think you are, money can get limited. So it's very important for you to know how you manage it. Like, what should I use money for part time? You need to know. So the fact that money is just coming in does not mean it has to go into anything. That's why financial literacy is very important to start with. Then the second thing is you need to know how to multiply money. Because you cannot work hard money.
So even as a young girl, you can learn that?
You can, yes. You need to learn how to multiply your money, because you cannot work harder than your money. One thing Yoruba people have is saying that *iṣẹ́-kọ́-lowó, that is meaning work is not money. Because it's not the hardest worker that are actually the richest. You would agree with me. But it's just the smartest people who know how to put their money into this and get it to multiply. So that's why you need to learn financial literacy. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, says that you need to get to a point where you're making money while you sleep.
Yeah.
So if you don't get financial literacy, is the only thing that can teach you. I'm sorry, they will not teach you in school. I don't know. Probably the curriculum can change tomorrow, but as of today, nobody's going to teach you that in school. So that's why you need financial literacy. Not only knowing how to make your money, but even knowing how to manage the money and how to. That one is even very, very important. So, like, you do not have to work around the clock. There should be a point where you're seated and then probably dividends is coming in from some sort of stocks or royalties from something or rental income from of your products. There just has to be a way that something is coming from when you're not actively working. And let your money be passively working, and then you're getting. In fact, that's the point that everyone should get to. You don't have to work yourself out, do you?
You're going to tell us more. That's really, you're going to tell us more about the money, and then we're going to talk about, I know that your husband has a book on money for children.
Yeah.
I think I've forgotten that, but I remember, and all that. But we're going to talk about a bit of that, why it's important, and to ensure that parents even start to buy books for their children on financial literacy. Your adolescent girls especially need to know about money, because it's just that money that men will come and put in their eyes like this, and then they've given it all away. At what age do you think parents, I want her to tell us, start teaching their children about money, multiplication of money, managing money and everything? And if you want an adult, especially girls, because like we mentioned before, when on the big girls, sometimes you just see money now, guy, they started following him, he just tells them, I have money, or they see him with a car, they feel like he's rich, even if his car was on loan, because they don't understand money really. At what age should parents start teaching their children? And parents that haven't done that before, how can they start to teach their children about money, so that we can have less girls fall into the hands of men who will just use money and just make them just fall?
I really love this question. Recently there's been this conversation around Nepo babies, Lapo babies, right? And something people are missing out. Yeah, we're all talking about money, but something people are missing out on is mindset and strategy.
Okay.
Not only are these so-called Nepo children, Nepo babies exposed to money really, but they're exposed to mindset. The other day I was having a discussion with my husband here. We're talking about how the rich intentionally do not want their children to get married to people that are not rich. Not just because of them, but there's a mindset, and they don't just want, like, they just want this generational wealth. So I'm saying this to say that, you need to start. See, the moment when they're already learning, I don't know if to say unfortunately or fortunately. So the moment they are born, they're already learning. So even before you can start putting words to their mouth or making them understand some things, you personally, you have to, there's a posture you need to have with financial literacy. Don't normalize lack in your home. Like, it's not everything. It's every time you have to give them mindset of money does not go on three. You cannot always have everything. Like, I understand the fact that you want to train them, but like, we have to be very careful. So I want to start from mindset first. The structure in your home, the children are seeing it. Like, are you so, like, so what's the word now, so you're so holding tight onto,
Stingy.
yeah, so stingy, like that. They see all of those things, and you're already communicating a lesson to them to start with. Now let me now dive into the part of ladies or women. Parents need to stop making it look like money is not gender based though. I hope you know that $1 or 1,000 naira does not discriminate. It's a man that is holding me or it's a woman that is holding me. So parents need to stop making it look like it's only men or the male children who have to work to earn a lot. There are some people like that, parents who even make it like, they say to their female children, like, oh, you're just going to get married and your husband will take care of you. I'm not saying husbands should not take care of their wives, but you're already giving them a notion of they have to depend on a man, or you cannot make as much money as that man. That's not true. That's not true. So those are like things that I would say informal education that you're already teaching them. Then speaking of when to now consciously start teaching them about money, see, as soon as they can speak, as soon as you can communicate, you can say, take this, you need to start telling them about money. Like, probably you send them on chores, you give them money for it. You just have to start making them understand. Tell the essence of saving. When you save this money now, I'm giving you this, but if you save it by tomorrow, you use it for something else. Like that. Start as soon as you can start. And actually, I'm an advocate for like paying them for chores. Sometimes, not always, but making them understand that to work, this is how you earn money. You have to work to earn money. So, you know, in this 괄ᴜᴜ conversation, something has really stood out for me where people say, see, parents' privilege is the greatest privilege any child can have. Parents, like, parental privileges are the greatest privileges that any child can. So give it to your children. Give it to your children. Teach them about money healthy. Something like having a piggy bank where they can save. You're giving them little money, maybe say 100 naira, and then at the end of the month you tell them to go and bring it, break it open, tell them to cancel. So, wow, really? So the 100 naira, that's small ones that you've been giving me, so you have to this much, and then take them to the store. Oh yeah, carry that your money that will save throughout the month, buy that toy. Good. Maybe next time you're at the mall and they're trying to say, mom, daddy, I want to say, do you have the money? No, then let's start saving first. In fact, you might be the one giving the money. Like, okay, so now you have to start saving for that toy. In case you give them money, they want to spend, you say, do you still want that toy? If you want that toy, you have to save this portion of this money. And then when they've saved for a period of time, you now say, okay, now break it, let's break it. They open it, okay, now let's go get that. Like, as simple as it sounds, you're actually communicating something to them
right before they become teenagers.
Exactly. You do not necessarily have to wait for them to understand, like, come to full form. Like that's, you know, children. In fact, my grandmother has a saying that give me a child for the first 7 years of their life and it would remain mine forever. And I think I believe, because whatever you put in a child just has a way of staying there. Now let's move quickly from child. Now let's go to adult girl.
We already have adult girls.
Exactly. Like that, you just have intentional. I would say it has to start from mindset change. You need to meet them where they are. For us, when I have people like that, like I've had a couple of parents actually book sessions, like they need me to talk to their will I say teenage girls, like that. And the first thing I'll have to do is meet them where they are. Like I want to first understand what's their mindset about money. What do you think about money? I put it to them straight as, see, money is value. When you can give value, you can make money. So when you begin to understand money from that point of view, so now you're a valuable person. Do you want to trade that value for just this money? Can you see? And you can actually make more from just doing it for this. So which would you rather? If you have to work with your brain and make $1,000,000 and somebody wants you to your body and give you just a fish, which one would you rather? Because you understand like that. So it has to start from mindset. It's not just about the amounts now. It's not just about the amounts, because financial stability is actually an exact amount. It's different for different people. So that's from the mindset. So you have to meet them where they are first. Meet them where they are. Understand where then you them what you like. Hey, now explain that. See, is value. Then when you now get exchange value for money, it does not stop there. You need to know how to manage it. You have a budget. Like, okay, this is where I intentionally want my money to go. That's another thing I found about young adults. They think that having a budget is to restrict you from spending your money.
Yeah.
But no, you have to make them understand that no, I'm not trying to restrict you. I'm just trying to intentionally tell your money to go. Imagine you earn this amount of money, and in the next 3 weeks you can say, yes, this was how I spent, like you would even be happy with yourself. You understand? So like that. And then the next thing is, now that you're not budgeting, you want to save, because imagine you're a case where you work for like the first quarter of the year, and then at the end of the first quarter, ordinary as your friend is getting married, and you cannot buy. Would you be happy with yourself? No, you understand? So you want to put a certain amount of money aside, like to be safe in case anything even happens. You should be able to say,
any man comes, I want to use money to confuse you.
Bless you, my sister. Or any man comes, I want to use
I hope
money.
adolescent girls and young girls are listening to our show and listening to
Any
this.
man
This is
comes and
golden.
say, oh, I want to give you, I'm like, say, you want to buy fish for me? Okay, maybe I should buy for you. Like, it gives you, like, it places you in a place of advantage. You understand? Like that. So then, now that you're not making the money, you're budgeting, you're saving, then the next thing you want to do is you want to multiply. Like, you want to sit back and at least, hey, now that I've made 100K, I want to put 10K into this, so that at the end of like 3 months, it multiplies to 30K. Then my money self be working. Don't let me work till I die.
Yeah.
You understand? I just think those are the ways. But it starts from mindset. It starts from the mind.
And I take it off from there. Especially for parents who are wondering where to start from. I think that you've heard our coach say you should start from the mindset. You know, what mindset do you have about money? You know, so if you work on your own mindset as a parent, it's easy for you to pass it down to your children. And we're taking a bit of focus on adults and girls in communities where they will say they don't have any skill, or they were not brought up with any skill. And that's how when we do our projects, we like to add a form of economic empowerment in it. So some form of training of a small skill that they can use to earn money. And so now that we know, we can always bring you to teach them how to manage the money, manage the money that we're encouraging them to make. And that's because in this community, some of the girls get pregnant for men that they don't even know. And so the challenge is that's because they go into commercial business of selling their bodies. I don't want to mention the way the word is, it's on radio, but it's hard to sell their bodies, on to men, because they don't know that they can make money from the work of their hands. And for those who have listened to the show from the very beginning, I mentioned in the opening, it wasn't the first episode, but the opening of the show, I mentioned how when I was living on the street, I used to live around in a brothel with girls who, one of them gave me a light bulb moment when she said I should use what I have to get what I want. I was so naive, I didn't even know what she meant. If I started writing all the skills I had, I wrote I can make hair, I can make chin, I can make sobo, because I had no clue what she meant. But that's what girls at that age knew, that what you have is just your body to use to make money, and then use it for whatever you want to use. But what that does is they now get pregnant and drop out of school. And then these are all the things that is making our work a bit more in the communities that we work in, because you are trying to get girls that are pregnant and then have babies to go back into school, and more are getting pregnant and coming out of school. So we're trying to now deal with the root causes of this issue, instead of just trying to get the pregnant ones into school. And now say, if this NGO got this one back into school, and that NGO come and get me back into school, because it becomes a mentality that it doesn't matter now. If I get pregnant, they will take me to school. It now becomes because they now see that funders are coming, or NGOs are coming to take care of, support them in their communities, then nobody worries about that. But we wanted to bring this show so that they can listen, and then we have it recorded and we have it played on YouTube and different places where you can always listen to your podcast and whatever, and keep emphasizing on the fact that it could cut off your education. Look at you, an engineer, for instance. Some of these girls cannot even boast of a secondary school education because money was just thrown at them, and because they don't understand that they are more valuable than that little cash that's been thrown at them. They ended up getting pregnant and now out of school. So it's like a cycle for us. We're trying to break that cycle so that it comes to an end, at least one community at a time and one girl at a time. So I know we've said a lot. We're going to come to what happened to you exactly that made you say, today is the day I decide to end this and take my finances into my hand. You got to a point where you decided, I've gotten to the end. I can't take this anymore. And it's the same thing with other girls, like the girls I mentioned, right? Because we work in communities and you see girls who they do these jobs to make money. And most of them won't stop until they get to a place where they realize that this is the end of this game. I can't be doing this business with my body to get money. It has to stop. So everyone has to get to a place where it's like a breaking point. So what was your breaking point at that point when you were battling with depression? You were in a dark place. You know, you were at home, a new mom, you know, dependent on your husband, and you were always in tears thinking, well, this is not the me I knew. You know, I was a babe, you know, earning money. How did I get here? What was that breaking point? So tell us the story and how you came out of it.
All right. Let me say that I was a mom, yes. I was expecting, yeah, I was pregnant. So the breaking point was my final trimester, the third trimester. You know, my EDD was fast approaching. And I checked my hospital list and it was not complete.
No.
My husband was not home. I remember. In fact, I'm telling you right now, my husband was not home. And then, you know, I'd just gotten back from antenatal and I was going through the list and I know, oh, I've not gotten this, I've not gotten this. But the point is, I cannot get it. I don't have the money to get it. So we have to wait for him to come back to tell him these are the things. After he had given me, he gave me 300K at first for me to get those things. So like I'm like, how do I now tell him back that I still need more? I've not gotten everything. Like it was at that point I said, nah. I can't, nah.
Look at tears in your eyes. Oh, don't make me cry, please.
Sorry, don't mind me. Okay, so it was at that point I decided, nah, no more. I can't continue like this. Unfortunately enough for me, just like my name implies, I'm a Christian. So there was this day I was listening to this sermon from one of his renowned pastors, and he actually talked about how there's something in your house that God wants to bless. And I tell you, like, I kid you not, literally, I started picking everything. Like, God, is this? Is it this? What exactly do you want to bless? What is it? What is it? Do you understand? And then it struck me, it was my phone because I had machines. I had 2 machines, you know, but I could not work for health reasons. And then it just struck me that this was my phone and I can start doing something with it. First, I needed to learn. Like, of course, I think this is where education actually matters. I knew that I've been doing something before. It brought me to this point. If I know I'm going to leave this point and get another point, I needed a new skill set or mindset or something. What brought me this far cannot take me further. It cannot be what will take me further. So I knew I needed to learn something. So that was where financial literacy came in. Like I needed to learn about money. But not only was I going to learn about money, because at least before I multiply the money, before I manage the money, I need to be making the money. I'm not doing anything to make money. So I knew I need to start from what will I do? What do I have in my hands that I can do? Yeah. Start making money. So it's after we've made the money, that we've managed and invested. But I first make the money. So that was when I knew, okay, I needed to do something. And then I started creating content. For me, it was content. And what I started doing was I was sharing my story, my pregnancy journey. My husband was not home, so I'll just do video about pregnancy, all of this. People could relate, women could relate, and like that, just from the community around me. And so when I took my financial literacy seriously, I started sharing. And okay, I didn't mention here that when I was depressed, when I was at that point, I called a couple of my friends and I realized that it's the same thing for all of us. Like the ones that were married, they felt like, that's the normal thing, that's how marriage is. I said, no, marriage cannot be like that. Marriage is not the problem. The ones that were single were like, hey, that's how I don't want to get married. Or you see, you this married women, just get married. And then I realized, oh, so it's not something that is peculiar to me. So it's something that could actually be common to a lot of people. It actually is. So that was when I decided, okay, let's start making money. So I started sharing my story, creating content, and a lot of people could relate, and they from the community. So the moment I took my financial literacy seriously, I started sharing my story. People could relate. They wanted me to hold their hands. This is the way you are doing it too. I've been at home 2 years. I'm not making money. Can you now help me? And that was how we started. But the breaking point was that hospital list. I said, so that do you mean I'm about to bring another human being into this place like this? Like I am broke and I want to burn another person. I said, nah, it wasn't gonna happen. No, it wasn't gonna happen. So that was, and to think I check my baby's gender. I think I was a girl. Imagine I'm like, hey, so I'm a girl. How, like, which mouth will I use to tell this girl that this is not how it is? So when you're a woman, this is a lot. So that was the breaking point
for you. Yeah. You know, so everyone has to come to that point. That's why it's difficult. Most of our intervention is difficult for us to get people to leave their ways and go out of that whatever way thing that they were doing to begin to do something new, because they have to get to a place where they see by themselves that this is a brick wall. We have to break through it, or just turn back and find a way, another way. But we can't just stand and keep looking at the wall. And so, like I said, even with our intervention, we always talk about mindset. In fact, with one of our trainings that we had, we talked to girls about mindset using the Hausa language. Like, that's how, because we wanted to teach them about mindset and then breaking limiting beliefs, and wanted them to understand it without speaking big grammar. So we had to get someone who understood Hausa language, who understands Hausa language very well, and she could relate with the girls in Hausa to teach them. And she was breaking down in every single word in Hausa that they understood, So, and they live in communities where their mindset, they forget about it. It's just, it's closed completely. But by the time she sat and went through how and showed them examples of other girls, because they're adolescent girls, how you can break through this even in this community, you can be the light in your community. So everyone needs to get to that breaking point. So even with those girls, for instance, not everyone had gotten to that place at this time with our projects. Some were still in the journey, but some instantly they could see that this is something I can do with my hand. So we're teaching them stuff like liquid soap and making reusable sanitary towels, but some of them are already saying, I think I know where to sell this one, I think I know how to do with this one, instantly at the project, or we're still on the project. I didn't. So some of them were still wondering, where do I start from? So it's a journey for a lot of people, but we believe that people can get there. So with you, now that at that time when you got there, what step did you take? So you took your phone, you started to make content. So that means everyone has something in their hand.
Everyone has
something that you can offer to the world, that you can help you bring money beyond putting your back on the ground, right? So you use that. So what will you tell us now that you've been doing to help others? Because it started with women. I always say that if young girls don't grow up well, they don't end up become women. So it's the old women that were once young girls. So talk to the women now that you started. That's where your community started from. Basically, now you have men in the community, but it started with women first. Because they're the ones that could relate. So talk to these women now, to young girls. So beyond our adolescent girls now, to say, what's your advice to them? Those that are listening to the show, if you're already caught up in that web of getting money the wrong way, which is what our show is about. What advice do you have for them to say, this is something you can do to get out of this? And these are certain places you can put that small money. I know there's one of your posts that blew up some weeks ago, and a spiritual leader put it on his own social media, and people kept calling you when you talked about using 5K to start an investment. I want to hear that so that people that are listening can understand. Then we'll go into how people can reach you.
Okay. The first thing I would say is, don't beat yourself too much. I talked about coming from this place. I knew what has brought me this far cannot take me further. Some people will drown in self-pity for too long. It's okay for you to take an audition of your life, like audit your life. It's okay. But then don't stay there for too long. Like, it's okay, you've done, but in fact, if you've had to do something you're not so proud of just to make money, it's fine. We all make mistakes. It's just in varying degrees. So it's okay, take stock of your life and then know that, okay, that are the things I need to do going forward. These are the things I'm not going to be doing again going forward. Start off from there. Then the next thing is you might want to work on your mindset, because it starts from the mind. In fact, I like to say, of the money you don't have in your mind, you can't have in your hands. It's actually true. You need to start saying it first. In fact, at this stage where I am now, I intentionally read financials of big companies, because I just want to expose my mind to big figures. I want to get used to seeing 100 billion, 1.3 billion, like it starts in the mind first, like that. So you want to work on your mindset. Then the next thing is, it does not, I'm not undermining school. I have a master's, but I'm saying that in fact I've made more money from being a fashion business owner than from being an engineer. So I'm just trying to say, even if it's a trade, it's a skill, just get something doing with your hands. I didn't go to school to learn content creation when I started making money from it. So get something doing, because you need to make that money first. Now that you're making money, it's very important for you to budget, to save, and then to think of multiplying your money. So let's go into that multiplying your money. I think a lot of people, in my few years of practice, just like 3-4 years, a lot of people dread investing, because every investment has a little bit of risks involved. But what people don't know is there's a way you can actually work with it. There are low risk investments, there are medium risks, there are high risks. So I think what people know more about is the high risk investments. What if I told you there are investments that, like, you're almost guaranteed of your returns? Things like treasury bills, saving bonds. It's the government. So treasury payment bonds is like government borrowing money from you.
A whole
After-
Nigerian government borrow money.
The money that you are now.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And then they'll give you after a period of time. For treasury bills, it comes in days, say 91 days, 182 days, 360 days. For government bonds, it comes in months. Say 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Now the thing is, after this tenure, after this period, they would return your capital back to you. They would have been paying your interest over time, but they would return like, okay, now in over 60 years that the Nigerian government have been doing this, they've never defaulted for us. At least, does that make your mind touch ground too much? You understand? In over 6 years, they've not defaulted, but a lot of people don't know this. And these instruments offers as much as 16%, 21%. So imagine, instead of your 100K, your 200K, you're even now the good part is, you can start investing with as little as 5,000.
That's what I want to hear.
As little as, like, a lot of people don't know this. So when you tell them invest, they're saying, oh, man, I don't have 1 million to invest. So who say you have to bring 1 million to invest? I guess that's what good. I start with 5,000. I tell people so that they will know. Like, so this is not bobo. This is not some motivational speaking. Like,
No,
for
at
me,
all,
it's
at
not
all.
motivational speaking. It's something that I've lived through. I started with 5,000 naira. Right? And this is something you can start with through 5,000. In fact, by the time you see your growth in like 3 months, like you invest 5,000, and at the end, instead of having 15,000, probably you're having like 17,850. Be like, without doing anything, 2,850 just climb my money. Nobody see. In fact, you will not need me to motivate you again. Before you start putting more, then you move on to 10. And another thing you're telling yourself is probably you don't have enough money. And okay, start with that 5,000. You'll be surprised that in the next 4 months, the motivation will just come from nowhere. By the time, imagine you say 5,000 3 times, it's not 17. Nobody will tell you next month to put 10,000. You put 10,000 multiplied to 15,350. Nobody will tell you to put 15,000. Like, that's just how you, like, for everybody I've had to work with, all I just need to with them is start. Like, once I push them like this, they start. That's all. I've never seen anybody come back and stop investing just because of it. So you just need to start. This has 5,000. So there's federal government saving bonds, there's treasury bills, there's mutual funds. Mutual funds is fundraisers pulling funds together from different investors. Okay, you say, I don't understand all these people's plenty English.
Yeah.
So crypto, plenty things. They actually fund managers. Like, that is their own work.
And you
What
can
they
help
do is
them.
They put funds together.
And can you help people
Yeah,
listening?
Of course I can.
Because we're trying to get our girls learning these things so we can reduce their dependence on I beg your pardon, on men. These are dependent on men, so that so they can depend on themselves and their savings and work. So can they reach you?
Of course.
So on Instagram, how can they reach you?
Okay, so on Instagram, of course, Christian Money Woman is the handle. You can just send me a DM or drop a comment on any of my posts. I'll see that instantly. And then on Facebook, there's ᴄᴏᴜʟᴜᴜ. You can just go on there and check. And then there's my office line. Like, I can gladly drop my office, of course. So that's 07066 823185. It's a WhatsApp, so you do not need to call. It's a WhatsApp line because it's a virtual office. So if you
See the number again.
Okay, 07066823185. So you can reach me. I'll walk you through. I'll give you options. I don't give financial advice. I'm not going to invest your money for you. I'll not say bring your money now. I don't do that. But see, I'll give you options. Explain to you like this. You say, I know the want to do. Like, by the time I'm done explaining to you,
yes,
make an informed decision on what you want to do with your money.
Wow, thank you so much.
In fact,
we've like I said, 1 hour always flies by so fast. You know, I tell my guests I'm gonna be on the radio for 1 hour. They always say, 1 hour, what am I be saying for 1 hour? But 1 hour flies so fast, and we just have 2 minutes to go.
Okay.
And then I want to say that parents, if you're listening to us, you have adolescent girls, you have children, especially I'm going to focus on adolescent girls as I close. We teach our young girls to aspire to love, to aspire to marry, but we don't teach them money skills. And that's why most of our daughters, we're struggling with them right now. And they see those people on TikTok making money on TikTok and just putting cars all over the place and just taking pictures with you, and they're easily dissuaded. Please just grab a notepad. Learn for yourself first. Reach out to someone like Christian Money Woman or any financial expert you see that you connect to. Learn from them as a parent first.
Yeah.
Then when you learn, you figure out this is something that's working for me. Then get your adolescent daughters and teach them, this, and show them, let them see that this is possible for them to earn. Youth coppers, you can start making. You don't have to wait until you're a job. That little money that giving as a copper, instead of saying, "Oh, it's not enough, I can't do anything about it," save something from it. And from this age, you can start making money. And before you know it, you have 1 year of your youth service year. You could have saved a lot from it if you can just save your money. If you are listening to us and maybe things have gone haywire, your money skills have gone, you don't have any money skill at all, just realize that you are not stuck, you're not too late, and your story is still unfolding. There's still hope for you. And if you want to reach us, maybe you've tried to find Christian Money Woman on Instagram or Facebook message at Betty, you can't find her, you can send us a DM at Beyond Her Odds on Instagram, at Beyond Her Odds. Last week, someone asked a very, very valid question that even got me thinking, about self-confidence for women and financial abuse, what our last guest suffered. And she has been in a financial abusive relationship for almost 14 years. That's how bad it is. Since secondary school, dating this particular boy that she has been taking care of all her life, that wants to marry her in the future. And I even it was a wake-up call getting that message. So your story is still unfolding, and this can bring light to you. Thank you very much, Ms. Betty, for coming to the show. Make sure that you listen to us again next week, because we're coming back with another brilliant session. We always bring amazing women on the show. Like I said, we don't always bring sad stories, even though our guest was crying when she shared, because her story is her story. She knew what she went through. Right. My name is ᴍᴜᴜ. As always, I'm your host, and this is Beyond Her Odds Show. See you again next week.